Hey everybody, it's Monday, and I apologize. During this video, I am wearing this goofy necklace next to the microphone. I don't know what I was thinking. So you're going to hear some clicking sounds. Please, my apologies for that. And at the beginning, I say that it's Michael Tinsley. It's Turney. I don't know what I was thinking. Mark Tinsley. Anyway, you'll figure it out when you hear what I talk about during the video. So enjoy. Everybody, welcome back to the channel. This is Crafting and Crime Daily, the show where I recap live trials, and it's Monday and I don't think I'm firing on all cylinders yet. Still having my coffee. I have a lot to get to today. We're currently covering the state of Arizona versus Michael Tinsley. However, they didn't have court on Friday, so I don't have anything to talk about today. Watch Saturday's episode if you want to find out everything you missed last week. Yep. Coffee. I finally ran out of that French vanilla creamer and got back to my Italian sweet cream. Yes, diamond painting today, but watch till the end because I'm going to show you all of the squares that I've done on my gnome project. But I'm saving that till the end because I've got a lot to talk about today. Even though there was no trial on Friday, lots of updates to bring you. First and foremost, oh my God, the boat crash case. Now, I don't know if you guys remember the boat crash case, but this is the case where Paul Murdaugh, son of Alex Murdaugh, the one he is in prison for murdering, he was driving a boat with 5 passengers. They were all, late teens, 18, 19. They went in Alex Murdaugh's boat, but before they went in the boat, they stopped at Parker's convenience store where Paul purchased alcohol using his brother's Buster Murdaugh's driver's license. With Buster Murdaugh's permission to use that driver's license. So they get in the truck, they go to one of the properties that Murdaugh owns, they get in the boat, then they proceed to go to an oyster roast where they drink the beer. Then they leave the oyster roast and they stop at a bar on the way back home where Paul Murdaugh and one of the other passengers gets out. They go in the bar, have a couple drinks. Meanwhile, the other passengers are outside waiting on a dock for them to come back. They come back. They're all drunk. Paul is apparently a very angry drunk. And he's, they're asking him, let me drive. No, I'm going to drive. It's my boat. And long story short, they run into a piling where all 5 passengers were injured and hospitalized, except for Mallory Beach. Mallory was ejected from the boat and her body wasn't found for another week. So the family of Mallory Beach has been suing everybody. The people, the Parker's convenience store where they bought the beer, they sued the people that hosted the oyster roast. They sued the bar where they stopped. They sued Alex Murdaugh for negligent parenting, basically, for failing to, rein in Paul. They sued Buster Murdaugh for providing his driver's license. Yeah, a lot of defendants. Now, Buster settled, and as a result of that settlement, the boat crash victims, Mallory Beach now owns a large portion of Moselle, but the property was sold. The Moselle property was sold. That's where Alex Murdaugh lived with his family. That's where the murders of his wife and son, Paul and Maggie, took place. That property sold, but the proceeds, the majority of the proceeds of that sale went to the estate of Mallory Beach, the family. So that got Buster out of the lawsuit. Then they dropped the estate of Paul Murdaugh last Friday during a hearing. And I went over that, I think, in Saturday's episode. Then they settled with the people that hosted the oyster roast. They settled with the bar. So the only defendants left in the case were Alec Murdaugh and Parker's convenience store. So I covered what happened in the hearing the other day. There was a hearing. They wanted the cases severed because in the state of South Carolina, in many states, there's joint and several liability, which means the jury could have found Parker's convenience store only 1% liable and Alex Murdaugh 99% liable. You know, he's not a nice guy, and people have a lot of opinions about Alex Murdaugh. And the attorneys for Parker's believed that the jury would make a large award, hoping to punish Alex Murdaugh for letting his son drive the boat and drink alcohol. But joint and several liability says even if Parker had been found 1% liable and Alex Murdaugh 99% liable, Parker would have had to pay the whole verdict. So because the judge failed to grant the motion to sever the trial, in other words, each would have a separate trial, he said, no, we're not doing that. The trial was set for August 14th. So following that motion hearing, there was discussions amongst the lawyers and the insurance companies, and Parker's convenience store settled the case. It was announced late last night. It was not a confidential settlement because Mark Tinsley believes, and the family of Mallory Beach believes, that it wasn't about the money. Let me read you a quote that Mark Tinsley made. I don't know what I just dropped. I think my pen. He said, it wasn't about the money, but that's a number that represents a level of accountability that they hope would make people who sell alcohol take the responsibility seriously and keep it out of the hands of minors. So they wanted to teach them a lesson and put a message out there. Now, here's what I don't know, and I've done a lot of research. To me, that would leave Alec Murdaugh as a defendant. But my guess is following the settlement with Parker's, Mark Tinsley and the state of Mallory Beach, or the family of Mallory Beach, decided to drop Alec Murdaugh, which kind of speaks to the fact that he was only there. It lends credibility to the argument by Parker's that Murdaugh was only there to get a large verdict. Yeah. So in any case, because Murdaugh doesn't have any money. He doesn't have any money. Anyway, so $15 million. Where is that going to go? Yeah, $15 million. So the attorneys, Mark Tinsley and his law firm, will get $6 million of that, 40%. That's the way it works. Usually a contingency fee case is 33.33% until the lawsuit is filed. These guys were ready for trial. This trial was going to start August 14th. So not only is he getting the $6 million fee, he's going to get all the costs that he spent getting this thing ready for trial, hiring experts, all that stuff, taking depositions. They were supposed to take the deposition of Alex Murdaugh tomorrow, Tuesday. So that's off the table. The trial is now off the table. There's not going to be a trial. So there was also another $3 million that Parker's paid to settle the case with other defendants, some of the other passengers. So of that, Mark Tinsley and his law firm will get $1.2 million. So Mark Tinsley and his law firm are going to walk away with in excess of $7 million plus whatever costs that they spent preparing this thing to go to trial. But that's not to say that the Beach family is not getting a lot of money. That still leaves $9 million that goes to the Beach family, and then $1.8 million to the other passengers, victims that were still suing Parker's convenience store. Interesting, right? God, I hope I held your interest during all that. If it was too technical, please let me know. I'll try to break it down some more for you. Then I learned that there's new information in the Chad Doerman case. I don't know if you recall, Chad Doerman up in Ohio back in, what was the date of it? June, I believe, June 15th. A bill of particulars came out that outlines what actually happened that day. And I want to read it to you. This is the guy who lined up his, well, he didn't line up the children, but he killed his three boys, his three young, blonde, towhead boys, gorgeous kids, and injured his wife and mentally scarred his stepdaughter for life. All right, so here's what happened. According to the bill of particulars, I'm going to read it. There's a lot of redactions, so I'm going to try to fill in the blanks, so to speak, so bear with me. On or about June 15th, 2023, and then they give the address, in Claremont County, Ohio, the defendant did purposely and with prior calculation and design cause the death of his three children. So here's what happened. On June 15th, the defendant returned early from work and had his family, including his wife and his three boys, join him in the master bedroom for a nap. Okay, that's just weird. I know some people are like that, but yeah, that's just weird. Okay. At some point after lying down with the four of them, the defendant got out of the bed, opened the gun safe next to the bed, removed a Marlin Model HC 22 caliber rifle from the gun safe, and a loaded magazine. The defendant then inserted the magazine into the rifle and shot his son, and it's blanked out which one he shot, twice. So that's in the master bedroom that this occurs. Immediately, the mom began to render aid and yelled for her other children to run. Just prior to the shooting, the stepdaughter, who had been watching television in the family room, made her way to the master bedroom and witnessed the shooting. She immediately began to run and indicated that one of the boys ran the wrong way. In other words, out of the rear door of the residence and towards a field. She ran after him, screaming at him to keep running. She witnessed the defendant chase after the little boy and witnessed the defendant begin shooting at him as he fled. The little boy was struck by gunfire, knocking him to the ground. The stepdaughter watched as the defendant then approached. I don't know who he approached. The defendant turned and looked at her and then turned back to whoever it was, one of the little boys, and fired one shot into his head at close range. Now, this is outside of the home. The stepdaughter then turned and fled back into the residence, where she picked up the youngest child and attempted to flee the residence with him. As she attempted to flee, the defendant returned to the residence and heard somebody crying. Someone immediately began running with, I'm assuming, one of the children. As she approached the road, the defendant caught up to her, raised the rifle, and pointed the firearm at her. He demanded that she put the child down. She begged the defendant not to shoot her and to put the gun down. She then witnessed the defendant. Now, let me read that again. I don't think I read it right because of the redactions. She begged the defendant not to shoot her and put one of the children, the child that she was carrying, down. She then witnessed the defendant attempt to shoot the child in the head. However, the gun did not fire and it appeared he was out of ammunition. The stepdaughter fled, or the child fled to his mother, who was in the side yard attempting to render aid to one of the other boys. After the defendant held the rifle to someone's head, she proceeded to flee towards the Monroe Township Fire Department. I guess it was the stepdaughter's head. She was stopped by a passerby and advised the witness that her father was killing everyone as she continued to flee towards the fire department. She has suffered serious psychological harm as a result of the defendant's actions. At some point, the defendant went back out into the field and carried whatever the child was that he had back to the side of the residence and laid the body in the yard, where all three children were similarly found. All three were in that side yard. After the stepdaughter fled, the mom was able to pick up one of the children. The defendant and the mom engaged in a physical altercation over the child, during which the defendant attempted to pull the child from her grasp, going so far as to bite her to get her to let go of him. During the altercation, she grabbed the firearm, placing her thumb over the barrel, and then the defendant shot through mom's thumb. After being shot and bit, she ultimately dropped the child. During the chaos, the defendant also attempted to reload his firearm. The defendant then proceeded to execute the child, shooting him at close range once in the head, and was ultimately laid in the same area as his brothers, on the side of the residence. After the defendant executed all three boys, he sat on the side stoop of the residence and calmly watched the mother undertake futile life-saving measures for her three children. That's disgusting, isn't it? Oh my God. So he admitted during his interrogation, that he had been planning this since October, and that he had been thinking about it, and he was having overwhelming thoughts of shooting his sons, and he, to the point where he didn't sleep for 3 or 4 days prior to the shooting that occurred. Yeah. Why? Isn't that the big question? Why? People, there's a thing, it's called divorce. Divorce. Now, maybe he didn't think he could afford child support for 3 kids. I don't know. All right. The other thing I learned over the weekend, there is a trial coming up the end of July that I don't want to give away all the particulars of this trial, because I want you to sit in the place of the jury, and I want you to learn what the jury is going to learn, so that it's kind of a clean trial versus this Turney trial. Did I say Tinsley earlier? It's Turney. I've got Mark Tinsley on the brain. Michael Turney's trial, where I've told you all of the backstory. I'm not going to give you any of the backstory for this trial that's coming up in July, because it's crazy. It's just crazy. The woman's name is Taylor Schabusiness, Schabusiness, business, Schabusiness. I will tell you that she's married, and her and her husband like invented that name. It's just so weird. Schabusiness. In any case, I listened to a psychologist outline her background and give her opinion as to whether she was fit to stand trial. In other words, does she understand the proceedings, and can she assist with her defense? Because during one of the prior hearings where the judge ordered that she be evaluated, after he issued that order, she gets up and she attacks her attorney in open court. So that attorney moves to withdraw from the case. He's withdrawn. She's got a new attorney, and she is charged with the murder of Chad Therion. This occurred on February 23rd of 2022. His mother, now the stuff that I'm telling you now, the jury will know. His mother finds in the basement his head in a bucket. That's all I'm going to tell you, because the rest is just it's crazy. Once they have opening statements, I'm going to let you know what is revealed through the opening statements. But stay tuned, guys, because this is probably the wildest case I have ever covered. Just craziness. So ultimately, she was found fit to stand trial, obviously, because we're going to have a trial. Yeah. Now, I don't know if she's going to be pleading not guilty by reason of insanity. That could very well be. in which case we're going to have a bifurcated trial. In other words, you'd have a trial. If she's found guilty, then you go into the second phase where they decide whether she's insane or not. Yeah. Either way, if she's found insane, she's not going to be released back into the public. No, she would go to a mental institution where she would stay for the rest of her life or until she becomes sane, which, given the circumstances of this murder, holy cow. Now, a lot of true crimers have covered this case, but like I said, I do recaps of live trials, and I really want you to hear this from the point of view of the jury. Now, if it happens to, it's not going to resolve. She's under a bond of $2 million. She's not going anywhere. Yeah. She's facing probably the death penalty. I don't even know what state that's in. What state is that in? I want to say Wisconsin. Yeah. Yeah, it's in Wisconsin. Green Bay, Wisconsin. Yeah. So stay tuned for that. Oh my goodness. That's going to be a good one. Yeah. Because there's a lot of stuff about her background, and I am curious to know if it's something the jury's going to learn about this woman's background. Any case, I promised to show you the crafting part of the show. Okay, so I've been doing gnomes, 1 or 2 each month. And someone asked, can you show me some of the other ones that you've done? Yes, I'd be happy to. All right, let me just start with January. So I did put 3 of them together already. January, February, and March are already put together. So there's, oh, it's upside down. All right, there's January, February, and March. So those are 3 of the months. It's supposed to be a monthly thing, but there's so many cute designs. I'm just going crazy with it. So that's the first 3. No, January, February, March, April, which is Easter. This is Easter. Yep. Then we have January, February, March, April, May. I don't know. This is where I got kind of started going crazy with it. So I don't know what goes with what month, but in any case, look how cute. This may have been May also, or yeah, probably May. Then we have this one. Oh, this was another April. Yeah, with the rabbit ears. And oh my gosh, I didn't realize how crazy I'd gone with this. Wait till the holidays come, guys. Oh my gosh. Here's one with the watermelon hat. And is that the most recent one? Yeah. Then we have this one. That's supposed to be a slice of watermelon. Yep. I'm having so much fun with this. Then I decided this is a pattern. The next one is a pattern I made up myself. This is the Pride Gnome, if I can get him the right way. The Pride Gnome. He kind of blends into the background, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, here's the one I finished over the weekend. This is a July one. Is that upside down? No. Okay. This is scuba diving. So that is, the scuba thing that she's got there. She's got on the goggles, looking out at the ocean in her pink bathing suit. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I've done 10 squares. Oh my goodness. Yeah. And yesterday I actually got all the yarn out for the next square, which is the pool floaty square. So the gnome has this rubber ducky pool floaty on, which is adorable. So I'm going to do that one. This is going to be a huge blanket, but not to worry. I have a king size bed, and I have cats and dogs that sleep on the bed, so I'll be washing it a lot. What I may do is put the holidays as a separate blanket. I may do all the rest as one large blanket. It depends. I don't know. We'll see. But super, super cute. Super cute. Okay, what am I going to do with all this? Oh, my word. I've been busy, haven't I? Oh, my gosh. Guys, that's the show for today. I'm going to listen to, the trial resumes today, the Arizona versus Michael Turney. I apologize for saying it wrong at the beginning. I had Tinsley on the brain. It's Michael Turney for the murder of his stepdaughter, Alyssa Turney. And to date, we've heard nothing that would make anybody think beyond a reasonable doubt that he has murdered his daughter. I'm not even sure she's dead. So stay tuned tomorrow to see what evidence gets put on today. And I will see you then. Have a great Monday. Bye, everybody.